After 5 years of living in a muffled, distant world, my hearing came back, just like that. But I didn't tell my daughter, Lily. I kept it a secret, and what she said when she thought I couldn't hear her, I'll never forget it. Stay with me, because what happened next didn't just change our lives. It redefined what being a mother meant to me. It's a strange thing. Getting back something you were sure was gone for good. It's like finding an old photograph you thought was lost in a fire. For a second, you just stand there, stunned, holding this impossible treasure and almost afraid to breathe. That was me. For 5 years, my world was quiet. Conversations were a game of lip reading and guesswork. Music was just a memory. Then, one Tuesday morning, someone flipped a switch. The first thing I heard was a bird chirping outside my kitchen window. It was so sharp, so clear, it felt like a shock, and I did the only thing I could think of. I held the secret and I walked through my day, pretending the world was still muted, while a symphony of forgotten sounds played all around me. But I wasn't focused on the birds or the ticking clock. I was focused on Lily. I was waiting, with a heart full of both terror and hope, to truly hear her again. To understand why I would keep such a miracle a secret, you have to understand what the silence took from us, and in its own strange way, what it gave back. Before the quiet set in, my life was loud, and I loved it. I was a music teacher, so our house was never silent. There was always a piano playing, a record spinning, or the sound of my daughter, Lily, laughing as she danced around the kitchen. Sound was how we connected. We'd have our own terrible concerts in the car, singing way off key. I'd read her bedtime stories, giving every character a different silly voice. Her giggle was the beat of my heart. She was 6 when it started, a faint ringing, a feeling of pressure, like being underwater. The doctors called it idiopathic progressive hearing loss. Idiopathic is just a fancy way of saying they had no idea why. Progressive was the word that terrified me. It meant this thief would just keep coming back for more. At first, I managed. I'd lean in, ask people to repeat themselves, and blame it on a noisy room. But it was relentless. High-frequency sounds disappeared first. Bird song, the microwave beep, the S sounds and words. Lily's high-pitched laugh began to fade. I remember the day she cupped her little hand to my ear to tell me a secret, and I couldn't make out a single word. I just nodded and smiled, a knot of panic in my stomach. That was the first time I faked it. It wouldn't be the last. Pretending to hear became a way to hide my own fear and shame. Within 2 years, I had to stop teaching. The music I loved had become a distorted, muddy mess. Giving up my job felt like a death in the family. But the real loss was the growing distance between me and Lily. Our easy chats became frustrating. "What, honey? Say that again. Please face me when you talk." I'd see the flash of annoyance on her face, quickly replaced by pity, and it was like a knife. She started talking louder, slower, as if I were a fragile old woman, not her mom. The joy in our conversations was gone, replaced by pure effort. We adapted. We had to. We learned some sign language. We texted from across the house. We got good at reading expressions. In a way, our bond had to become more intentional. But I missed the little things. Hearing her hum while doing homework, overhearing her chattering on the phone with friends, all the unguarded, throwaway comments that tell you who a person really is. I felt like I was watching her life through a pane of thick glass. I could see her, but I was on the outside looking in. The loneliness was profound, and I was angry at my own body, angry at the world full of sounds I couldn't share. But underneath it all was grief. I was grieving the woman I used to be, the mother I used to be. I tried to hide it from Lily, But kids see everything. She became my little caretaker, always checking on me, translating the punchline to a joke after everyone else had laughed. A child shouldn't have to carry that weight, and the guilt from that was the heaviest burden of all. Our life wasn't bad. It was just quiet, and in that quiet, we were both lonely together. The day it happened was aggressively normal. A Tuesday in April, the kind of day you usually forget. I was staring into the fridge, trying to figure out what to pack for Lily's lunch. The house was quiet, except for the low hum of the refrigerator, a sound I felt more than heard. And then, a chirp dot. It was so clear, so sharp, it felt like a tiny needle had pricked my ear. I froze, then it came again. Asterisk chirp dash trill dot asterisk a sparrow on the fence outside the open window. I hadn't really heard a bird in 5 years. This wasn't a memory. This was real. My heart started pounding. I slowly closed the fridge, and the asterisk click asterisk of the latch made me jump. I could hear it. I could hear the high-pitched whine of the electricity. In the walls, the rumble of a truck down the street, the whisper of my own socks on the floor. It was a tidal wave of sound crashing into a brain that had been starved for years. It wasn't gentle. It was a chaotic, violent flood down. My first thought wasn't joy. It was terror. What was happening? A stroke, a hallucination. Sudden hearing recovery isn't something you really hear about. I sank into a chair, clamping my hands over my ears. The ticking clock was like a hammer. My own breathing sounded like a hurricane. Lily was still upstairs. I could hear the faint thump of her music, the creak of the floorboards as she walked. Every sound was a miracle and an attack, and in that moment, a decision was made. It wasn't rational. It was pure instinct. I couldn't tell her. Not yet, dog. Why? I was afraid it wasn't real, that it was a glitch that would disappear and leave me more broken than before. I was afraid of the doctors and the tests, but my deepest fear was about me and Lily. We had spent 5 years building this quiet life. We had a system. It was fragile, but it was ours. What would happen if I just blew it all up? She had become my protector, my ears. Would she feel useless? What happens when the person you've been protecting no longer needs protecting? I was terrified to find out, so I did nothing. I stood up and started making her lunch, pretending the world was as silent as it had been the day before. The next few weeks were completely surreal. I was living a double life. On the outside, I was the same deaf mom Lily knew. I watched her lips, nodded to her gestures, faked it. But inside, I was living in a secret, explosive world of sound. I felt like a spy in my own home. At first, it was exhausting. Everyday noises were an assault. The clatter of a fork, the flush of a toilet, the crinkle of a bag. It was all just painfully loud noise. My own voice was the biggest shock. When I spoke, trying to keep my usual deaf person's cadence, the sound in my own head was completely alien. I'd forgotten what I actually sounded like. But slowly, my brain started to adjust. The painful noise began to sort itself back into distinct sounds, and that's when the magic started. I began keeping a secret journal. I became an obsessive eavesdropper. I pretend to read while Lily was on the phone with her best friend. For years, those calls were a silent movie. Now, I could hear everything. I learned about the boy in her, history class she liked. I heard her complain about my cooking. I heard her fiercely defend a friend. I felt the joy so sharp it was painful, mixed with a huge dose of guilt. Was it right for me to be listening to her private world? The deception was stressful. There were so many close calls. One time, I was in the garden and heard the mail carrier's keys jingle down the street. I instinctively started walking to the mailbox. Lily, from the porch, signed, What are you doing?" I froze and pretended I was just checking on a rose bush, turning my back so she couldn't see the panic on my face. Another time, watching a movie with captions, a character whispered a secret. The captions just said, "whispering," but I heard it, and I gasped. Lily looked at me, concerned. "What's wrong?" She sighed. "Just a spider." I tapped back on my phone. The secret was a heavy, living thing. I was rediscovering the world, but I was totally alone. And the more I heard, the more I realized how much my deafness had cost my daughter. I could now hear the thin edge of impatience in her voice when she had to repeat something for the third time before smoothing it into patience. She wasn't mean. She was a teenager, tired of being a translator. One evening, I overheard her video calling her grandmother my mom. I was on the couch, pretending to be asleep. "Is she okay?" my mom asked. "She seems distant." I heard Lily let out a long, weary sigh, the sound I now knew so well. "I don't know, Grandma. She's just more quiet than usual. I feel like she's slipping away." I try to talk to her, but it's so hard. I feel so alone with it all. Those words broke my heart. My attempt to protect her was actually hurting her more. The secret wasn't a shield. It was a wall, getting higher every day. I knew I couldn't keep this up. Something had to give. I was just too much of a coward to be the one to break it. I was waiting for a sign. Turns out, it was coming. The day the secret finally broke was a Saturday. It had been exactly 1 month since my hearing returned. 1 month of living into different worlds. The guilt was eating me alive. Lily was having a rough week. She'd failed a math test and had a falling out with a friend. She was 16, and her world was ending, like it does. She had tried to talk to me about it, but our talks were clumsy. I'd watch her lips catch words, like unfair and embarrassing, and offer hugs. But I had to pretend I couldn't hear the tremble in her voice, the real hurt. It was agonizing. I could see her frustration building until she just gave up and retreated into silence. That Saturday afternoon, the tension in the house was thick. I was in the kitchen, chopping vegetables. The asterisk thump 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 asterisk of the knife a comfortingly solid sound. Lily was on the couch, scrolling through her phone. She thought I was lost in my task, in my silent world. She must have thought she was truly alone. She put her phone down. I heard the soft thud on the cushion. I heard her take a deep, shaky breath. My hands stopped moving. My own breath caught in my throat. This was it. She wasn't talking to anyone. She was just talking to herself, to the empty room, to the mother she thought couldn't hear. Her voice was a whisper, a fragile, broken sound that sliced right through me. "I just wish I could talk to her," she whispered. My knife clattered onto the counter. The sound was shockingly loud. I froze, but she didn't notice. She was lost in her own grief. She went on, her voice thick with tears she was trying to hold back. I wish, just for one day, she could actually hear me, not just watch my mouth move, not just guess. I need my mom, not the deaf mom, just my mom. I miss her so much. And there it was, asterisk, I need my mom, not the deaf mom, just my mom. Asterisk, it wasn't an accusation. It was pure heartbreak. The cry of a daughter who felt she had lost her mother. In that one moment, all my selfish reasons for keeping the secret just crumbled into dust. I thought I was protecting her, but I was just protecting myself. In my silence, I had made her feel completely alone. By holding on to the dynamic we asterisk had asterisk, I deprived her of the mother she asterisk needed asterisk. The sound of her quiet sob was the sound of my entire world shifting. I turned off the kitchen faucet, The total silence that followed was more profound than any I'd known in 5 years. I wiped my hands on my jeans, took a breath, and walked into the living room. She was still on the couch, face buried in a cushion. She hadn't heard me coming. I stood there for a moment, my heart shattering and rebuilding itself all at once. The first thing she said when she thought I couldn't hear had changed everything. Now, it was my turn to speak. I knelt by the couch. I gently put my hand on her back. She jumped, then sat up fast, wiping her eyes, putting on that careful mask she always wore for me. She was already getting ready to sign or grab her phone. But before she could, I spoke. My voice was a croak. "I heard you, Lily." 3 words. They landed in the quiet room with the force of a physical object. She went completely still, her eyes, red and swollen, were wide with shock, her mouth open, but nothing came out. I tried again, my voice a little steadier. "I heard what you just said." Her face shifted from shock to confusion, then to a flash of disbelief, maybe anger. She just shook her head, like she was trying to tell me to stop some cruel joke. I reached out and touched her cheek. "My hearing came back," I said softly. "About a month ago. I can hear everything. I heard you just now, and I am so sorry." The tears I'd been holding back finally fell, and that's what seemed to break through her shock. Her own face crumpled. The mask shattered, and she was just a 16-year-old girl who needed her mom. You can hear," she whispered. I just nodded, a lump in my throat. "For a month?" she asked, her voice trembling. "You've been able to hear for month and you didn't tell me?" The hurt in her voice was exactly what I had been dreading. "Yes," I said, my voice breaking, "and I know that was wrong. I was scared, sweetie. I was so scared." We sat there on the floor for what felt like hours as the afternoon sun stretched across the room. We talked. For the first time in 5 years, we really, truly talked. I told her everything. The terror of the sounds returning, the fear it would go away again, the chaos. I told her I was afraid to change the life we'd built. I confessed my most selfish fear, that she had gotten so used to being the strong one, she wouldn't need me anymore. She just listened, tears streaming down her face. When I finished, she didn't yell. She looked at me with this wisdom that was far beyond her years. "Mom," she said, her voice raspy, "I always needed you. I just needed you to hear me. I felt so alone. I thought I was losing you." She told me how tired she was of being strong, how much she missed just being a kid, how she hated having to be the adult so often. Every word was a painful but necessary cleansing. The wall that had been between us, brick by brick, started to crumble. It was messy. There was hurt and anger, but underneath it all, there was just so much love. We cried for the years of struggle, for the loneliness we'd both felt, and we cried with relief for the simple, incredible miracle of finally being heard. That conversation didn't fix everything overnight. The next few weeks were an adjustment. We had to unlearn years of habits. Lily would catch herself signing or talking too loud, then stop with a little sheepish smile. I had to learn to just listen, to trust her words would reach me without me having to watch her lips. But the most beautiful change was in the small things. The house filled with sound again. Lily started playing her music out loud. We started singing in the car again, horribly, and laughing until we couldn't breathe. I could hear her coming down the stairs and call out good morning without having to wait to see her. These tiny, everyday moments felt like precious gifts I thought I'd lost forever. Our relationship isn't what it was before I lost my hearing. It's something different. It's stronger. It's more honest. We learned in the hardest way possible That real communication isn't just about hearing words. It's about being brave enough to share your truth, even when it's terrifying. My hearing coming back wasn't the real miracle. The miracle was my daughter's forgiveness. The miracle was finding our way back to each other, not through sound, but through honesty. Those first words she spoke when she thought I couldn't hear her broke our relationship open, allowing something new and much more real to grow in its place. I learned that the heaviest silence isn't the absence of sound, it's the absence of truth. And by finally breaking that silence, I didn't just get my hearing back, I got my daughter back. If you've ever felt isolated from someone you love for any reason, please know you aren't alone. Sometimes telling the truth is the scariest thing in the world, but it's also the only way to truly connect. Thank you for listening to my story. If it resonated with you, please give this video a like and consider sharing it with someone who might need to hear it. I would genuinely love to read your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever kept a secret to try and protect someone? How did it turn out? Let's talk about it. Until next time, take care of yourselves.